All right, well, sorry ahead of time. I know I keep saying this, but this is due to, well, the weather. There's an insane amount of wind happening in the Northeast in the US. So if you see some or hear some little bit of, like, what is that? That's the wind. The wind is that powerful. It's just constantly shaking things. It's going that fast. So apologies there. So let's just jump into the subject where it seems DOA is going to step back from the anti-Scientology protesting, at least in LA. That said, he's not retiring, right? He's not stopping to be an activist overall. He's just going to focus on other movements, I guess. And he has, right, been a part of many different things, whether Palestine, the trucker movement, January 6th, BLM. Yeah, just in time for Black History Month, he was part of the Black Lives Matter movement. And he can actually produce a lot of screenshots. So this is not him just talking. He actually was hooked up with so many different movements. And there we are. I'm just going to focus on one major, I don't know if you want to call it inconsistency. It just felt a little strange, especially with Jenna releasing her fourth video trying to reframe where she's going to go in her channel. I'm not going to deal with the Jenna video too much. I'm just going to go with some of what she was saying in that video to try to figure out what is happening in LA and where are people situated. So before, Streets is like taking a neutral stance. He just didn't want to get involved in the Jenna Aaron controversy. And very briefly, basically, Jenna put out a series of videos charging Aaron with being very abusive. Now, in some of the videos, she refined that. She's not saying that Aaron was being physically abusive, but he was yelling and screaming at her, and she felt really bad, crying every day. So it was a really awful relationship. And apparently that has been dissolved, and she's going to move on. And she's a little bit skeptical of people, quote, suddenly supporting her, like Nora and a few other people. So she's gone back and forth on whether to keep the videos. She put them up briefly, then she took them down, and she thought about putting them back up, but certain comments made her keep them off the internet. So whether they've been destroyed, I don't know. Whether they'll come back, also don't know. But that's where we are. So Streets said, I just don't want to get involved with all that. He's not approving of what Aaron did, but he's not really going to take much of a stance. But now, more recently in his videos, he's very critical of DOA, and he's getting a lot of support and is taking, quote, a very popular stance with the anti-DOA people. And I'm a little mixed about what Streets is up to, and this is what I'm going to get into because, and it's definitely a very tricky situation because DOA is now involved with Lara FM. They have a boyfriend-girlfriend relationship. And DOA was revealing certain secrets about Jenna. I'm not even going to get into that. That's for another video. But let's just say that the image Jenna's putting out that she's the nice, innocent victim may not be true. And there we are. So Streets in his videos is basically asking or hoping that Lara, I guess, separate from DOA and get some help. So this is a major framing device that people have had for months and months and months, that Lara has been manipulated by DOA. She's under his mind control or whatever. But Laura's fine. The problem is DOA. Well, I'm not really convinced with either assumption. I mean, good or bad, a lot of this is what Lara wants to do and what Lara has been doing, even before DOA showed up. She's always been this very rambunctious, very vocal, just, and again, I don't necessarily approve of how she does it, just very vocal and confrontational style of protesting. Granted, it's been ramped up with DOA, but I don't think he's the origin. And as far as her being controlled, well, again, a lot of this is her own actions. Even when DOA was away, technically, right, he was in other states or just traveling around, he travels a lot, she acted more or less like she did before. Now, granted, things might have gotten a lot worse, but I don't see this is a significantly different Lara than before. So I'm just head scratching here. So Streets is saying that we need to help Lara because Lara is not necessarily in full control of her mind or body. Okay, but with Aaron, we should stay neutral. We shouldn't be involved or asking questions about his relationships. So is he saying that DOA is just much, much worse than Aaron? Or is he really being serious that, like, Lara cannot really control her mind? So she's not really voluntarily being with DOA. She's being mind controlled. All right, so I guess we have to presuppose that Jenna is fine. She's independent. the relationship is over, so it's apples and oranges. In other words, the situation has resolved itself. So Streets doesn't have to intervene in the Jenna case because, as Jenna says in her video, she's done with the Aaron relationship. She's moving on and she's safe, right? That's the main thing you get from the video. She is physically safe. So with Lara, she may still be in danger, but Jenna's not in danger. Ergo, there's no inconsistency. Again, I'm just playing devil's advocate, but I don't think that holds up at all. I mean, only a few weeks ago, Streets was very reluctant to say anything. He said, I just don't want to get involved with Lara or DOA. It's like, I'm trying to do my own thing. He was going to focus back on just monitoring the police and do other things. He says, I haven't even done anti-Scientology content for a very long time for a reason. I just don't want to get involved with those people. So, yeah, we're shifting the tactics and the message. So, does Streets know something we don't know? Did something alarming happen or a bigger tragedy we're not aware of? So, it just feels like what it is, that he and Aaron are going to take back the leadership position in the LA protest movement. And he's just going to be very explicit about it, that DOA is not welcome. And Lara can stay, but they're very suspicious of what she's up to. But it's due to DOA, right? They like her, but it's the DOA influence that's really alarming them. I just find it hilarious. And again, I actually feel sorry for this woman. I'm not just bringing her up to just beat on her, but Susie, who is one of Aaron's more vociferous female defenders, says that, it's kind of sexist that people think that Jenna's only a victim and can't make her own decisions. And really, this is just between her and Aaron. Okay, so us being too concerned with Jenna, that's sexism. But us being too concerned with Lara, well, that's just obvious, right? That's just obvious that DOA is doing mind control. So it's obvious that DOA is a narcissist controlling Lara's brain. But with Aaron, no. That's even sexist to think that Aaron was manipulating Jenna mentally. That's the position of the pro-Aaron people at the moment. Okay, alrighty then. Now, of course, we got to be serious. I mean, Aaron is persuasive. And obviously, that's what you do in relationships, right? When they go badly, both sides are going to try to pressure one another. So some of this is just how relationships go. But you have to be really naive to think that Aaron, given that he does have one of the biggest YouTube channels and has at least thousands of fanatical fans, it's not the same thing. I mean, Jenna does have her own audience. She now has nearly 40,000 subscribers. So she clearly has her own audience, but that's still much, much smaller than Aaron's. So to think that's not going to factor into her decision making or like, And she said this explicitly in the first video. She put out the video to get support, right? So again, I'm a little mixed on what Jenna's up to, because by taking down the videos, we're like in a weird space. Should we even acknowledge the videos? Did the videos even happen? Like the message got out there and it's over. Okay, so why aren't the videos back up? It's all very weird and confusing, especially because in the first video, she said explicitly, I'm going to keep this video up so I'm not tempted to go back to Aaron. But she took the video down. So, it's just very, very tricky. So I don't see this as a very promising tactic that the Aaron people are going to pull the sexist DOA card. Maybe DOA is a sexist. In his own video, DOA was pressuring Aaron on precisely this point, that he thinks that Aaron really doesn't respect women at all. He's a misogynist. That's a really big topic, which I'm not going to handle fully here, but I don't know. It just seems very strange. So we've got these two big attack patterns. One, that DOA is the mind control, CIA agent controlling Lara. Okay. And Aaron isn't that. He's not a CIA agent, so don't worry. But also, DOA is a sexist controlling Lara, but Aaron was never controlling, Jenna? Really? I think it's pretty clear he was trying to lead the discussions when they spoke. So the whole DOA is the real sexist, but Aaron is definitely not sexist. I don't think that's a promising line of attack, but that's where we are. So it just feels very rhetorical. And on top of this, DOA revealed that Jenna isn't exactly as neutral or friendly as she's put herself out as, but we'll have to handle that in another video. So where is Lara in all this? Well, at the moment, it seems like she is going to continue the relationship. Thus far, I'm not seeing anything really new. I mean, I'm not approving what Lara is doing. She's bossing a lot of people around and barking orders, which I think is not a good idea. But she sort of has maintained the same more or less personality she has this whole last year. I don't see a major shift that could be attributed to, quote, mind control, much less sexism, but that's my opinion. But yeah, I mean, listen, Laura's a very tricky customer, so thinking that this is all DOA's work, no. I go with more the dance interpretation that, good or bad, this is Laura being toxic herself. Now, whether she wants to be less toxic with or without DOA, only the future will tell. But yeah, I don't know if the mind control and sexism double thesis is going to help us very much, at least in my opinion.